Chair recognizes Representative Chuck Williams for a morning order, and he's going to be joined by Chairman Amy Carter. Is Al Williams in this too? No, he's just down here. Oh, Representative Quick. Representative Fry in this as a member of the Athens-Clarke County delegation. Can't leave him out. Chair recognizes Representative Chuck Williams for an invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's indeed a pleasure and a privilege to be in front of my fellow House members today. For those of you that know our former colleague, Hank Huckaby, you know that there's not many times that anybody in state government gets anything over on Mr. Huckaby. But thanks to Chairman Amy Carter's behind-the-scenes workings with the Huckaby family, Hank is here this morning thinking that he is participating with us in recognizing Steve Wrigley, the new Chancellor of the University System of Georgia. Actually, Mr. Chancellor, Mr. Wrigley was not invited to this event. He is not here today. You're the man of the hour. We're here to recognize our good friend and former colleague, Hank Huckaby, who has really spent his entire life in service to the state of Georgia, both in higher education and in government service, most recently as Chancellor since 2011 of the University System of Georgia. For those of you that may be new and don't know, Hank's government service tenure, again, has been marked by high standards, working in higher education, and then in state government. Hank served as the Commissioner of the Georgia Department of Community Affairs, Executive Director of the Georgia Residential Finance Authority, as Director of the Office of Planning and Budget, and most recently, sitting right over here in the corner where I have the privilege of sitting in the seat now, as State Representative for House District 113. Hank's accomplishments are so many and so broad that Georgia Trend magazine has recognized him a couple of times. In 2015 as their Georgian of the Year, and then just weeks ago named him to their 2017 Hall of Fame. Leadership Georgia also in 2015 honored Hank with the J.W. Fanning Award. So, Mr. Speaker, it's my privilege and honor to present to this body the recently retired 12th Chancellor of the University System of Georgia, Hank Huckaby, and would ask you for any comments.
Well, thank you, Representative Williams, and I'm honored that you would ask me to say a word or two about my friend here. I came to this building in 1993 and got to know Hank, and I was a freshman member of the dark side of the Capitol, and part of a distinct minority party. It was actually a micro caucus over there at that time. But I came to know and respect this man, and I have to tell a story. I don't think I've told this publicly, but in 2010, my first year as Speaker, we adjourned here late in the session. It was getting near qualifying, and I walked back in the office, and Diane told me I had a call from a former governor of this state. I said, well, put him through. And I got on the phone, and I said, hey, Governor, how are you? And he says, I'm fine. He says, I got you a candidate for that Oconee County seat. I said, well, I didn't realize I'd deputized you to be in charge of candidate recruitment since you're a member of the other party. But he told me that, he says, I think if you call Hank, he might run. So I immediately called him, and he did, and he won. And I figured out then that if we could attract people like Hank Huckaby to this house, we must be doing something right. But he came and served a brief, shining time. And then we got him all ready to go on to bigger things. But Hank Huckaby. I really don't know anybody that knows state government any better than Hank. He has served in so many capacities, but he has served in all of those capacities with integrity and with a high level of competence that he brings great credit to public service. He was trained up by Governor Zell Miller in the way that he should go and never depart from. And we share a mutual love and affection for that man. And I never meet with the governor, but what he has to ask me, he says, well, I just talked to Hank, and I know that he respects him very much. And so, Hank, we so admire your service and appreciate what you have meant to this state. And I just wish for you and Amy all the best of happiness and health in your, I don't know that he's going to retire. I told him, I don't know where you're going to go, but I don't think you're going to go sit on the porch in Oconee County. But he's a great friend and a former member of this body and a great colleague of ours. And so we're just honored that you're here today, and we're sorry that Chancellor Wrigley couldn't be here. But thank you so much for what you meant to Georgia. Please welcome Chancellor Hank Huckaby.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. I am overwhelmed. I'm surprised. My being here this morning, I think, sets legislative history in that I'm here because a legislator lied to me, and I know that's never happened before. But I am overwhelmed. I do remember that when I decided to run, Speaker and I did have several conversations, and I'd been around state government, as Speaker said, all my life, and in every capacity in which I served, I worked with the legislature in some aspect. Understood what you did, how you did it, but never really had the kind of appreciation for what you did and how you got here until I ran myself. And I know over the years, sometimes I would criticize legislators like John Meadows and some others about, why don't you just do the right thing and don't worry about getting reelected? Well, my opinion on that changed. In July 2010, when it was my name on the ballot, it became darn important to win. So I appreciate what you do, appreciate what you've done, what you had to do to get here and stay here. It's been a great honor of mine to serve this state for the years that I have. As the Speaker knows, that I did decline to be considered for Chancellor 2 times because I really was committed to serving in this body, enjoyed serving in this body, and sat right over here to the left, and I thought after 4 months that I could really help my sweet mates over there if I stayed, because they needed some help. But I never looked back. I was honored and thrilled to serve as Chancellor. I am honored that my wife Amy is here behind me. I didn't know she was going to be here. She told me she was going to be somewhere else. And my son Clay, the Speaker didn't introduce him because he's a lobbyist, but I'll tell you, he's a very good one, so if you ever have any needs. But thank you for your service. Thank you for this. I must say, I did have a thought in my mind. I said, I served for 5.5 years in this legislature. This House never recognized me. Wrigley's been Chancellor 9 days and hadn't done a darn thing. So why are you honoring him? But But he is going to be a great chancellor. He and I worked together for many years. He's an outstanding person. He's a scholar. He understands the university system like no other, and I'm delighted that the board elected him. But I do want to thank you for this recognition today. I was surprised, and quite frankly, when Amy asked me to come over, and she finally said, "Steve Wrigley wants you to," quite frankly, I was enjoying being in Athens alone for a while. But I thank you for this. I wish you to have a great session, and I know you will. You have a lot of tough issues to deal with, but do them with commitment, integrity, and in a civil way, in which I know you will do that. Mr. Speaker, I thank you. I will say one thing, the Speaker's comment, he may have forgotten he made this comment when it was announced I was going to be the next Speaker. He said, I don't know what this says about me, but he said he was delighted I was going to be Speaker. He said it only took 4 months for the House to train me to be a Chancellor. And I don't know whether that means I'm that bright or there's really nothing to the job to begin with. Thank you very much.